All the walls, the moat, the gatekeepers, the warded mail, the verified shipments, the wards and alerts and policies. And the most dangerous person in the keep already has a seat at the table. The insider threat is not an exotic or rare creature. It is one of the oldest problems in security, and one of the most consistently underestimated. Precisely because naming it out loud feels like accusing a member of your own party, and nobody wants to be the one who does that. Welcome back. I'm the architect. We've spent this arc looking outward, external actors, their techniques and tools, the kill chain they travel. Today, we turn inward, because some of the most significant security incidents in history were not caused by anyone breaking in. They were caused by someone who was already inside, who had access, who had trust, and who, for one of several very different reasons, became a problem. The category isn't one creature, it's three, and conflating them leads to the wrong defenses. The malicious insider. Deliberate, intentional, someone who is actively working against the organization. The party member who's been turned. Motives vary. Financial pressure. The employee offered money to walk out the door. A recruiter for a competitor. A foreign intelligence service. Or a criminal organization looking to purchase access. Grievance, the employee who was passed over for a promotion or disciplined unfairly, treated badly and decided the organization owes them, exiting the company with a copy of everything that they could reach. Ideology, a true believer who has decided the organization's work is wrong and deserves to be exposed. Coercion, someone being pressured by outside forces, threatened, blackmailed, acting against their will, but acting nonetheless. The malicious insider knows where things are. That's the frightening part. They don't have to search. They don't have to escalate privileges dramatically. They have legitimate access to legitimate systems, and they use it. They know the layout of the dungeon because they helped build it. They know where the crown jewels are kept because guarding them was their job. Statistically, malicious insiders cause more damage per incident than external attackers, because they are not working against controls that have been designed to stop those outsiders. They're working from inside those controls with full context about where the valuable things are kept. The negligent insider. Not malicious, not deliberate, just human. This is by far the most common category, by a significant margin. The well-meaning employee who clicked the phishing link. The contractor who emailed the wrong spreadsheet to the wrong address. The developer who pushed code with credentials hard-coded in it, or the IT administrator who misconfigured the cloud storage bucket to public. The executive who left their laptop on a train, or the employee who chose a weak password because the policy didn't require more. No villainy, no intent, just an ordinary person having a normal bad day while holding elevated access to sensitive systems. The party member who accidentally triggers the trap. Not because they were careless, because the dungeon is full of traps and everyone steps on one eventually. The majority of insider incidents are not betrayal. They're mistakes, which means you can't solve insider threats by looking for bad actors alone. You have to design for human error, which is everywhere, always. The compromised insider, the most invisible of the three. This is someone whose credentials have been stolen, who has no idea anything is wrong, while an attacker walks through the organization's systems, impersonating them, using their access, passing every authentication check, because they have the right username and the right password. From the perspective of the security stack, it looks like the legitimate employee. It may be logged as a legitimate employee, and the legitimate employee will be confused when the forensic team calls them later. The compromised insider is the party member whose identity has been stolen, a doppelganger wearing their face, carrying their badge, and sitting in their chair, indistinguishable from the real person until you investigate closely. Defending against insider threats is genuinely hard, for a reason that technical threats don't carry. You cannot treat every member of the party as a suspect and still function as a party. This is not a trade-off you can optimize away. It is a fundamental tension. Organizations run on trust, on delegated access, on the assumption that the people inside are there to do their jobs, and on their ability to do those jobs without constant interrogation. The security controls that defend against insiders must be invisible enough to not destroy the culture that makes the organization function. The principles that actually work. Least privilege. Nobody gets more access than their role actually requires. Not what they might need someday, what their current job requires today. Limiting what any single party member can reach limits the blast radius if that member becomes a problem. Separation of duties. High-risk actions require more than one person. No single employee can authorize a large wire transfer alone. No single administrator can grant elevated access to critical systems without a second approval. The attacker can compromise one person. Making one person insufficient is the defense. Behavioral analytics. Not catch the bad person. Catch anomalous behavior. An employee who accesses 10 times their normal volume of records over a weekend. A user account downloading data at 3 a.m. from a different country than where they normally work. A service account querying systems it has never touched in its operational history. These are signals, not accusations, signals that warrant investigation. Data loss prevention. Monitoring for data leaving the keep in unexpected ways. Unusual email attachments moving large amounts of sensitive data. Large uploads to personal cloud storage. USB drives copying significant volumes to removable media. Culture. Make it psychologically safe to report mistakes early. The employee who accidentally emailed the wrong file has a choice. Report it immediately and contain the damage, or say nothing and hope nobody notices. If reporting means punishment, they're going to say nothing. If reporting means help, then they're going to report. The party that punishes honesty finds out about mistakes at the worst possible time. Your quest objective. Think about your own access. At work, at home, any systems you are authorized to use. What could you access that you've never actually used? Old permissions from a project that ended. Shared account credentials that nobody revoked. Administrator access granted for a task that was completed months ago. If your credentials were stolen tomorrow, what could an attacker reach? The answer to that question is your blast radius, and the smaller your blast radius, the better. Review your access, remove what you don't need. We've covered the full landscape of adversaries, external actors, the trusted merchant, the party member who was already inside. One more stop before the monster manual closes. The part of the keep that faces the outside world by design. The gate that accepts visitors from anyone on the road. By the millions, every day, without being able to verify who any of them are. The web application. The front door. And what goes wrong when it trusts the travelers that it shouldn't. I'm the architect. We'll talk soon.